Most of the summers, I was literally on a John Deere tractor for 12 hours a day. So, in order to kind of entertain myself,
I
this
would
is
really
what I
just
need to
create.
do to get better. And it transcends technology, right? It transcends this can really apply to every single job that you'll ever have. If you can publicly speak in a resounding, resonating way with
Well, I
I mean,
concise
there's
pres
two different lives that we lead, right? We lead a personal life and we lead a corporate life or a job life.
Yeah,
That's two different ways. But what this skill allows you to do
expert
is
in that
increase
field.
both lives. And
Yeah.
that's going to give you the opportunity to showcase talents that you already possess in a way that people will, hey, I trust this person. This person really knows what he's talking about. I'm going to rely on this person. He's a better teammate and coworker, better boss.
Hi
I
there.
have the ability.
I'm thrilled to introduce my guest today, Patrick Kelly. He's the chief architect at Zoom and increasingly known in the tech world as the tattooed nerd. Patrick has an incredible professional journey that spans more than 30 years, and it's taken him from the seat of a John Deere tractor as a teenager to working for major companies like ESPN, Citrix, Microsoft, and now, of course, Zoom. But Patrick is not just a tech expert, he's also a seasoned public speaker. He's really known for taking complex tech topics and makes them easy to understand and interesting. His talks and videos often focus on AI, the future of work, and the latest trends in technology. He's all about showing us how tech can improve both our work and our lives. Now, one of the things that makes Patrick stand out is his storytelling. He really believes that stories are the best way to connect with people. Whether it's leading, selling, or marketing, a good story makes the information stick. I think Patrick's journey is a perfect example of how public speaking can really build your career, build your confidence, and help you share your passion with the world. I'm excited to dive into his story and to hear how public speaking, storytelling, and presenting have definitely given him superpowers. Patrick, welcome. Great to speak with you.
Spencer, thanks. I'm humbled that I was even invited to speak with you. I appreciate it.
No, I think you have really an immense amount of experience, especially in the world of speaking and presenting and storytelling. So I think there's some real gems in terms of how you learnt this skill, why it's become important to you, that I think will be really good for other people. So
Appreciate it.
no worries. Now, I was listening to something that you were talking about the other day, and it kind of connects in a little way to, obviously, as somebody in the world of communication, I obsess over Aristotle more than most people. And I think one of his quotes was, "Give me the boy until he's 7, and I'll give you the man."
Oh,
And I
thanks.
heard you speak about your childhood and teens growing up on a farm and being on the back of a tractor, and how maybe that connects to what we're talking about. So I thought maybe that could be a good place for you to share that story.
Oh, that's fun. I'm glad you even listened. I grew up on a farm and ranch in the southeastern corner of Colorado in the U.S. And most people think of Colorado, they think these mountains and skiing. That is not the Colorado I lived in. The Colorado I lived in was all flat and prairies, and there was no one around for miles. And so I really didn't have any like friends to play with because I didn't live with anybody. And most of the summers I was literally on a John Deere tractor for 12 hours a day, and I didn't have entertainment like cell phones back in the day. Like I had a radio, an AM radio with country and music, and I hated country music at the time. So I literally had 12 hours every single day that I had to entertain myself because tractors, if you don't know, they're like 3 and 4 miles an hour. So there's not a lot happening around it. You're going very, very slow. It's very, very mundane and monotonous work. So in order to kind of entertain myself, I would really just create these stories in my head, and they were like live action stories or spy novels or just anything that I can do to create this entertainment for myself. And that's really kind of how I really had the imagination to get into storytelling. Really was just being a bored farm boy in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, definitely. And having that curiosity and imagination, I think that's you see time and time again. It's a common thing as you kind of develop that skill?
You know, that's funny you say that because I feel I sound like my granddad when I say this, is that in today's society, right, we're fed entertainment all day long. We literally have entertainment in our hands at any point. So today people aren't bored anymore, right? They can literally be entertained all the time. So there's this idle time that you're standing in line, you might be playing the game, watching a video, whatever it is. When I grew up, right, I had to entertain myself, and a lot of times that was literally just using my imagination to create stories of everything were around me, and then relaying those stories back, I guess, really was what all started.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think sometimes being bored is a good thing. You can.
Agreed.
So where did it go? So you were developing your early storytelling skills on a tractor. Kind of what was the progression from there into work? And I guess it's leading to, was there a moment where you suddenly realized this presenting storytelling thing is becoming more and more important?
Yeah. Obviously, as we go through, school, we have to do some sort of presenting, right? And we're not good at it. And we all hate it. In the beginning, we all hate it, right?
Yeah.
It brings complete fear and mortifies most people. So I don't think anybody grows up thinking, man, I can't wait to grow up one day and be an amazing presenter and publicly speak all the time. Like people just don't really have that as a goal. But I think it was my probably 10 years into my career. My first probably part of my career, I was just an IT nerd. I was in my cubicle, really not talking to customers, maybe doing help desk stuff with people. So I didn't really have presenting the ability to present anything. And then when I got a job at Microsoft, I was called a deployment engineer, a deployment architect. And now I had to get out of my cubicle and start architecting designs, very complex designs, and then relay that design and my thinking to a customer. And this is the first time in my career I'm now having to create content and then present on that content and then have that content resonate with a customer that I'm working with. So that's really the first time I'm like, man, I better start upping my game because I wasn't really good at it. And that's the first time I thought I better put some serious effort into being able to publicly speak.
Yeah, and I think what's lovely about that, probably wasn't at the time, it was quite tough, but like, is that idea that when you know that you have something complex and you need to explain it to somebody who might not necessarily have the same kind of knowledge or understanding. So in a way, it forces you to put yourself into the shoes of the audience and to think about, okay, how can I get that message across in a way that's clear and they understand the meaning?
You can be the smartest guy in the room, and no one's going to know unless you can present that to them in a way that you can articulate in a succinct, right, concise way, in a simple way. Because again, I'm in the technology field. A lot of this stuff is super complex, and a lot of times when you're talking to somebody, they're not as nerdy as you, right? They are business decision makers, or they're maybe writing the check, and so you need to present this why or how in a way that they can relate to. And that is all the ability. That's the gift of publicly speaking and presenting data like that.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm imagining you back then, 10 years into your career. So you're not the confident powerhouse that you are today. So like to your mind, like what are some of the things for people listening that are like, oh, I'm so scared of public speaking, or I find it really nerve-wracking? Like, did you see like what were some of the things that just slowly started to make it better? Because it is a bit of a marathon, not a sprint sometimes.
Yeah, there's no easy button to being a good public speaker, right? If there
Yeah.
was, everyone would be amazing at it. And unfortunately, you have to go through some pain. That's just the way it works when you get better. There's a great book called Freakonomics, and there's a story in there about 10,000 hours. And Macklemore's wrote a story on it, a song on it. But the whole point is, in order to perfect something, you have to go through 10,000 hours of work to be at a master level. And so, unfortunately, you just aren't born a good public speaker, right? You're just not going to be able to nail it the first time out. You have to put a lot of effort in. And so a lot of that time is learning from other people that are masters at it, right?
Yeah.
And so you can certainly give it your best shot. There's obviously you're writing a book on it, right? There's ways to get better at it. There's videos to watch. Watch your best public speaker and try to emulate them. The point is that you're not going to know your way until you do it, and you're going to stumble along the way. But be able to be open-minded enough to be able to take criticism, to say, this is what I need to do to get better. And it transcends technology, right? It transcends this can really apply to every single job that you will ever have. If you can publicly speak in a resounding, resonating way with concise principles, you will be successful. That's
Yeah.
truly true. I truly believe that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen, I'm also 28, 9 years into my
Yeah.
working life, but like I've definitely seen throughout that the ability to be a good speaker and presenter like lifts you up a level in terms of how people see you. And unfortunately, the opposite is true. If you're really bad at it, it can actually detract from your experience and knowledge and stuff like that. So I definitely, for me, like I remember somebody years ago told me, like, when I was talking about, okay, how do I get better at this thing? And she kind of said to me, yeah, but Spencer, it's like any other fear. Like, how do you get over a fear of
Yeah.
heights? Well, you have to go be at heights. Or how do you get over a fear of wasps? You just got to be around wasps until it.
Yeah.
And that was that sudden realization that, like, yeah, I've just got to do the thing that scares me. And I remember, like, for me, it was just I joined like the Meetup app, and I just started hounding as many people as I could, saying, "Do you want me to come talk about storytelling?"
Yeah.
And that was it. And I didn't care if it was two people, a dog, and a pizza box. I'll be there talking, because it's just that repetition that slowly helps you learn how to manage it. It's
It's
a process.
I think too, maybe it's just my fragile ego is I like affirmation, right? I like
Yeah.
to be told I'm doing a good job. It's like, just like when you have your dog, right? He go get the ball, you pet him and say, good job. He wants to please you all the time. And probably whether you look at it positively or negatively, I like to please people. And one of the ways I can do that the easiest is to present or storytell. And I was at Microsoft one day and I started working this new job, and this guy that I was working with, I knew he was smart because he was obviously working at Microsoft. You have to be smart to even start there. But I was in a meeting with him, and the way he was telling the story of this super complex design, I already knew the design. I already worked on it with him already. But the way that he had captured the audience and the way they were watching him and the way they're like engaging with him, I'm like, I want to be that. I want to have that skill. I want to be able to draw people in, tell them the story, have them be enthralled or entertained, or at least engaged enough that I know that they're listening and what I'm saying is working. I love that feedback. It's kind of a high, really.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's like it's powerful on so many levels, because it's you see the power that you have as a great communicator, but also it helps in a way. The more you get it, the more it helps your confidence, because
Yes.
you'll know what it's like, that in our own head we're our own worst critique and enemy, and we'll be like, oh no, that's terrible. But then you'll
Yeah.
have people come up to you afterwards and go, oh, that was really interesting, I learned such a lot. And so I think sometimes that affirmation has multiple roles and multiple jobs, and is really an important part of the process of developing the skill. So people definitely shouldn't be, I don't know, embarrassed or ashamed of it. I think it's take
Yeah.
it, enjoy it, use it. It will help build, the skill.
I think confidence is a really good word that you use, because that drives me all the time. Is I again, negatively or positively? Howard Stern is a very famous DJ here in the U.S., and he once said, had a story. He's like, if I had given a speech to 100 people and then surveyed 100 people, and I got a 99% positive rate, you know what I would do? I would wonder why that 1% didn't like it.
Yeah.
I have that problem. I do.
Yeah.
I truly do.
Yeah, and Seth Godin is one of my heroes for many years, as a marketing guy. But he's published many books, and he also has done outrageous amounts of speaking. But he always says that you have to tell yourself that, yeah, that 1% is just not for them. And that's okay. Like, you know, you have to be okay with the fact that not everybody is going to go, oh, it's
Yeah.
amazing, but
Yeah.
that's okay. That's part of the process. It's
Yep. It
yeah.
is. Again, it's doing hitting 99% success is pretty good, right? Like you
Yeah,
should be.
I'll take it every day.
Agreed.
So, is there, like you mentioned, obviously seeing the guy at Microsoft? I don't know whether it's that or there's another moment, but is there like a pivotal moment where you suddenly realize, like, okay, I'm starting to get the hang of this. It's getting, you know, like the progress became much quicker. Was there some moment or some time that did that for you?
The again, having a mentor that he didn't know as but he was my mentor at the time, and I was just trying to emulate him, which was better than I was doing in the past, right? It was a step forward, but then I found myself trying to be this person, and it wasn't coming across. I wasn't resonating as well as he was because he was him, right? He wasn't me. There's only one of me. And until I started figuring out, hey, people want to listen to how I tell a story, that's when it started resonating. There was actually a meeting with a customer here in Charlotte, and I've been practicing this one speech, I guess you could say, because I knew I was going to have to present it to a large audience. And I was, again, nervous and anxious, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it the way I think it should be done. And I, of course, went through the entire presentation. And in my head, I'm thinking about all the mistakes I made. But then, like you said, I had a bunch of people come up to me like, this was the best presentation I've ever seen on this topic. And I was killing myself thinking, oh my God, I screwed up in these 4 things. But it was the 100 other things that I talked about that people picked up on. And I'm like, you know what? This is it. This is the moment where I know that I have the power to really a lot of effort into one thing and like it, and especially the outcome. And literally, what I'm doing is helping people, right? I'm really
Yeah.
by teaching them. They're trusting me to go forward with their project, but I'm really helping them do what they really are trying to solve. I'm really solving problems with the ability to be able to be a public speaker.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, you know, it speaks to this idea that it takes the audience a really long time to understand if something went wrong. And 99% of the time, they won't even know something went wrong because
Yeah,
in your head, you're like, well, I've just practiced this talk for 8 hours. So I know it like really well. So for you, it's like if something goes off track or you miss something, or then it's a big thing in your head. But to the audience, they're just having a great time and getting
yeah,
lots of great information. So I think there's definitely those moments, and it's the same for me, that like where I suddenly understood the huge gulf between the narrative in my head and what the audience is thinking. And you know, and that for me also was that moment where you're just like, ah, okay, so I can be a lot more gentle with myself and calm
yeah,
with myself. And the audience, as long as I focus, like you say, like long as I focus on how can I help them do a better job next week,
yep,
and if I do that, generally it's okay.
yeah.
Like I think it's that obsession with the audience.
Yeah, and that's a good thing too, right? Being obsessed, well, obviously, being obsessed with being a success is a good thing. It can obviously be obsessive and cause problems, but as long as what you're doing, you love doing, it will come across when you're presenting, right?
Yeah.
You could watch somebody for a minute and you're like, this guy hates what he's doing right now, right? He's not enthusiastic, he's monotone. And again, he might be the smartest guy in the room, but he's not showing me that he is the smartest guy in the room by just being confident and being honestly being a public speaker. You're there to entertain too, to a degree, right? And that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a job to do for sure.
You do.
So let's change gear a bit and talk about the benefits of being a great speaker, in terms of how, you know, to somebody listening, how can it change their life if they develop this skill? Because I think for me, sometimes we all, you know, because it's human nature, we focus on the scary bits, but we don't take a moment to kind of realize there's some pretty amazing superpowers that it gives you when you develop this skill. So like what have you seen in terms of the impact on your life?
Well, I mean, there's two different lives that we lead, right? We lead a personal life and we lead a corporate life or a job life.
Yeah.
That's two different ways. But what this skill allows you to do is increase both lives. It really, truly does. And I actually probably got really good at storytelling. I have four boys. And guess what? On long road trips, they need to be entertained, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that might be telling them a story, and you're literally winging the story in your head, but you have the rapture of four boys listening to you. You might have the rapture of your wife listening to you because you can tell a story that's dramatic, entertaining, climactic, has a point. That's one part of it. And then you can probably transcend that into your friendships because the ability to tell a story is entertaining and people like to be around you. You'll be more social and ability to draw more attention to yourself. On the corporate side of things, again, you might be the smartest person in the room, but unless people know that, you're going to be handcuffed and confined to a very small area. What the ability to tell a story or present in a dynamic way opens so many doors in both personal and corporate life that you'll be more successful literally in both sides. And that's truly what storytelling and presenting has given me the ability to do things I would have never dreamed to do. I didn't grow up, Spencer, thinking, hey, I'm going to have an amazing YouTube channel and thousands of viewers and people want to. That didn't even exist. That wasn't even an option. But
Yeah.
the ability to tell a story and relay a point has now opened up a lot of doors I never even thought possible.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think like for anybody watching this, they should go check out the Tattooed Nerd channel for sure. I will put links with the video.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's something that in like in the beginning when you feel I don't know nervous just looking at a camera and talking to it, and then
Yep.
suddenly fast forward a relatively short time, and there you are with a YouTube channel and a serious audience, and you're just content all the time.
Yeah. It also opens up the ability for people to relate to you as an authentic public speaker because people I guarantee you people are having the same thoughts that you're talking about, but they didn't know how to relay that information properly. And so immediately, if you're a good public speaker, even if you don't know your content that well, if you can relay the message in a way that people can resonate with, they're going to think you're an expert in that field. And
Yeah.
that's going to give you the opportunity to showcase talents that you already possess in a way that people will, hey, I trust this person. This person really knows what he's talking about. I'm going to rely on this person. He's a better teammate and coworker, better boss, because I have the ability to really relay information in a concise way that makes points and is relevant.
Yeah, fantastic. So, again, I'm thinking about the people listening, like, and they're still pretty nervous about speaking, presenting, being on video. Like, what advice would you give to somebody who's more towards the beginning of that journey? What should they be doing?
Honestly, it's I know this is harsh to say. It's literally being ready to fail.
Yeah,
It's going to be okay, right? Is again, you are your own worst critic, and a lot of the things and mistakes you make, people aren't even going to notice. But unless you literally take that first step, you're never going to get better. And so it's going. You're going to fail, and that's okay. And being accepting of hey I know this is gonna make me better. Taking advantage of that failure and making you better. What did you do wrong and how do I learn from it? Instead of just, being defensive and saying, "I hate this, I'm not gonna do it anymore," you're going to have to just keep taking those steps forward. And it's not a linear path, right? It's not a perfect progression, just
yeah,
right up this it goes up and down. You're gonna kill it some days, and some days you're gonna be off. And that might be biological, it might be the moon phase. There'll be some things you can't control, right?
yeah.
Doing a demo, like you could be doing a live demo in front of 1,000 people, and guess what happens if your laptop goes out? Uh, what are you gonna do then, right? So you can be only so prepared, but being able to pivot is really, really an important part. So again, starting out, you're going to have to just be able to fail, one, and then two, you're going to have to put the work in of why you need to be a better presenter and how you can develop those skills. And there's plenty of books and videos on how to do this. If you're not sure how to do it, you're not putting in the effort that you need to do.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, I think it's that there's, it's like we spoke about before in the 10,000 hours. There's just no substitute for just doing it again and again. And I think like that idea of finding the little ways that you can speak and present. So like, don't just go straight for the huge risky ones, but figure out like, okay, where can I volunteer and talk to 3 people, or like just make a conscious effort to kind of whenever you can volunteer and do it. Like it's a powerful, slow thing.
You ever watch like documentaries on comedians, like Jerry Seinfeld or Jay Leno? They weren't immediate successes, right?
No.
They literally would be in a Starbucks, giving a comedy show to 3 people that weren't there, nor did they care about their comedy show. But they're putting in that 10,000 hours. And yeah, obviously it takes some talent to be a good presenter, a good comedian. But I'll think about Larry Bird and Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods. All these guys had God-given athletic ability, but they are also showing up at practice 2 hours before anybody else was there. And they were staying 2 hours later than anybody else was and shooting 10,000 reps and hitting 10,000 balls beyond what anybody else was. And I said this one time, is that you don't have to be 1,000% better than the next speaker. You just got to be a little bit better. And working on that every day is a big part of that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and the athlete thing is a great anecdote, because I definitely researched athlete performance, and when you see the interviews of athletes and they're always like, I'm really excited for this race, this event, whatever it is. And I think like that was part of my journey of understanding like our biology and how it connects to it, that fear and excitement are very closely linked because it's the same physical reaction in the body. So actually that's another way that we can help ourselves and say, hey, it's pretty cool I get to do this talk. Maybe I get to help somebody. Like focus on the positive as you go through it. But
there's also a thing with repetitions in that there's a certain presentation I give here at work, and I've again probably done it 10,000 times. And the first time I developed the content, I probably stumbled through it, wasn't confident in my ability. But now I can go into any customer and have this exact talk with them, knowing full well I will tackle any hurdle that's ever been put in front of me because I've seen it.
yeah,
And I'm presenting data that I fully know and am very comfortable with it. And I'm very confident that I can present this data again and again and again. Typically, when probably given that talk and presentation several times, and you're going to craft, it's going to organically change every time you do it. You're going to find a new nugget that, hey, I saw that guy smile, I might want to put this in my Rolodex of what I do. Did I say a joke that entertained? And you're going to use all those tools just because you've done it 1,000, 10,000 times, and you're going to be loaded up with confidence because you've tackled every obstacle, and that's going to make you a better presenter as well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so to wrap us up, what would you say, if there's one, I don't know, takeaway idea for people to really understand, like, why should they care about being a great speaker and presenter? Why is it important?
It's literally, again, because I'm in technology, I usually give very technical talks. But think about a CIO, think about a janitor, think about literally every job in between. At some point, you're going to have to talk to somebody about something, and you might be an expert in that. How can I do that I always say it's very easy, but it's very hard, is how can I do that in a concise way? And I mean that, hey, I have, whether it's 2 minutes to do an elevator pitch or 45 minutes on a webinar, the information I have, how can I give that in a way that's going to solve a problem, resonate with a user, as well as be entertaining? I think people forget the entertaining part of that, is that some of the greatest speakers were also amazing entertainers, like Steve Jobs or Martin Luther King. They had an amazing message every time, but they also did it in an entertaining way.
Yeah.
So if I'm just starting out, I'm going to look to be, how can I really say something that's going to solve a problem or resonate with who I'm talking to? And how can I make that entertaining, whether that's telling a simple joke or telling a story? How can I bring those two together? And that's going to make you a great presenter.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also helps you have fun with it. Like if you're, if you do look at using entertainment story. It's something that makes it enjoyable for you as well. So I think it's definitely a powerful takeaway. Okay, so where can people find you if they want to listen to you more? Where can they come find you?
I really there's probably two different platforms that I work on the most. Obviously, I do my job and I work and I talk to customers and stuff. But in the social world, I have a really big presence on LinkedIn. So if you look up Patrick Kelly on LinkedIn, I guarantee you're going to find me. And then from a maybe more entertaining perspective or life perspective, I also am on YouTube as well. So Patrick Kelly, search Tattooed Nerd. I bet you'll find me.
Fantastic. And I'll put the links with the video as well so people can
Awesome.
find you.
Sure.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time and for sharing your story.
Spencer, I wish you immense luck in this endeavor. I've written a book before, and I know how much effort it takes.
Yes, definitely. You start out thinking it's simpler than what it is, and then it gets as you get into the detail, it's okay. Yeah,
Yeah, it's an immense amount of effort.
yeah. Cool. Thanks ever so much, and see you next time around.
All right, Spencer. Thank you, man.